welcome each and every individual to another session of Grandpa's Magic Couch. And today we're going to be talking about some really cool things about the 25-year value transfer system. And so I've noticed when I was in my 20s and starting to have children, my wife and I, that often the fourth generation tends to fall apart. They just do. So you have first generation often, they're immigrants. They work really, really hard, delayed gratification, do a bunch of stuff. And the second generation reaps benefit from the first generation, but they often don't work as hard. They don't have the same value system. Third generation, they gain the benefit from the previous two, and then the fourth generation, just falls apart. So, as part of the homeschooling my wife and I did, we spent over 3 years coming up with a 25-year value transfer system. And so it's part of the DNA for Life, the natural laws. So is there a systematic way to transfer values to the next generation? What does one generation, or maybe two, or even three generations, why does one generation, maybe two or three generations succeed and then the next generation fails? What prevents an older generation from passing along values to the next generation? What prevents somebody from picking up natural laws and values which will help them to heal? Great video that four of my grandkids and my son-in-law, daughter, my wife watched over the holiday season was Pilgrim's Progress. So I'd encourage, it's a fun video. The children were riveted in being able to understand, like they watched the whole thing, like they were just glued to it. And so it teaches a lot of values. It looks at life in a different way. So I'd encourage, looking at that for sure. The 25-year value transfer system, over a 3-year plus period of time, my wife and I studied a lot of different things to look at what values did we want to pass along to our children. And so there's some really cool things. So you see over 100 values that were established, and we broke these values down into what values to teach from age birth to 1 year to 5 years old, from 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, and then phase 5 ongoing. And then we broke the values down into 5 different areas, which is values, skills, work ethic, leadership, and results. And so in ages birth to 5, it's teaching them 50% value, 20% skills, 10% work ethic, 10% leadership, and 20% results. And then all the way over into phase 5, 20% values, 10% skills, 10% work ethic, 20% leadership, and 50% results. So how do you produce high-producing children? And so now my wife and I have 5 children, so twin girls that are 2.5, almost 3, granddaughter, 3 years old, almost 3, and then grandsons who are 5 and 7. And so even at the age of 18 months to a year old, we were teaching good choices, good consequences, bad choices, bad consequences. Often adults seem to forget this. Teenagers, it seems like they forget it. Adults seem to forget it. And so it's really instilling at a very young age strong values and understanding these are natural laws like the law of gravity. Why is it that it seems like we're having a harder time transferring values now than we've ever had before? I think it's because of technology. And what I mean by that is the younger generation, technology is moving at such a fast pace that often grandpa and grandma or even mom and dad don't know the technology, so kids think, well, they don't understand. Like our world is different. Like they didn't. And it was really funny. One of the fondest memories I have is when my grandmother passed away when she was 99. When she was 96, and my son, who's 20 years old now, was 16. So she's 96 years old. He's 16. 8 decades different. They were sitting on the couch together, and my grandmother is 96 years old. She says, so Ben, what do you do for fun? So they didn't get to see a lot of her, and so she'd come around once in a while. She didn't live real close to us. And he's like, oh, Grandma, great grandma, I just like to hang out with my friends. And she smiles and she laughs and she says, really? So, what do you talk about? What do you do with your friends? And he's like, he gets like quiet. And she looks at him and smiles and giggles and says, oh, Ben, that's okay. You don't need to tell me. You talk about how hard your parents are on you, and you talk about girls. And he blushed, and it was such a moving moment to me on how she was able to transition to go through 8 decades and reach him. And so technology, people are people, and they're not that much smarter. Some might argue not as smart as previous generations, but they think they are because of technology. And so it goes into like cheerfulness, gentleness, gracious, and happy. And so that goes into 0 to 12 months, and patient. So teaching those 5 values from birth to a year old. And then what do we teach from 1 to 2? So it's only like 5 values that we teach every year. And if we do that over 25 years, it's amazing what can happen. So this all connects back into the BOSS system and being able to go through it, the 3 different elements. This connects back into life and career and all of those things. If you're not part of Engineered Clarity, just become part of it. I'm just saying, it's $20 a month. You can't pay for your kids. You can't pay for your employees to be a part of it. They have to, like my 7-year-old grandson, I want him to join this year. I'd pay for it. It's $20 a month. It's easy. It's the best investment I could make. But I have to do something harder than pay for it. I'm helping him start his own company. So you can't pay for somebody else. Everybody has to pay for their own, including kids or grandkids. And so how do I teach him the values of earning money and then investing that back into himself and being able to go through and do that? If you have any questions on anything we covered, connect with the individual who invited you to participate, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., U.S.-based number is 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. We're going to go into the Q&A, which is only available through EC2, Engineered Clarity Community. So again, it's great that we listen to these things, but what do we do with it? How do we internalize it in going through? So here we go.